All right, I'm in a fancy suite at the Venetian with David Goldman, VP of Marketing for Lumus. How you doing, David?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You were telling me you're battling a little jet lag. I'm battling a little CES, whatever you call it. Fatigue. I guess it would be fatigue, man. My legs are so sore.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, you probably how many steps you have so far?
Oh, yesterday I think I had like 18.
18.
18K.
That's
yeah,
pretty good.
It was a lot. I know it was more.
That's
than
like one hotel away, right?
Right. Exactly. Well, I'm super excited to sit down with you today and talk about all the cool things that are happening here with Lumus, and I know that there was the Meta Vision.
Oh, Meta Ray-Ban display.
Yeah, the Ray-Ban display. I think that's a good context setter because that's a device that came out not very long ago.
October, yeah.
And
or late September.
Technology is really driving the display portion of that, right? And
that's right. We're the Waveguide.
You're the Waveguide that's powering the view. So now that they're out, people are using them and everything. What have you learned about how that wider spread adoption of that device, and form factors like this, what are you learning about how that's being received, how it's being used, or any surprises there?
Yeah, so I probably can speak the least about, we have a few and I've been using it. Mm-hmm. I can talk about my own personal use cases, but in terms of the display, which is our end, right? Mm-hmm. We didn't do the whole system.
No, totally.
I wish I could say we did.
And that's kind of what, that's what I'm doing.
I think they really nailed it. I think it looks good. I think it feels good on the face. Those are decisions that they made. Sure. Also the input with the wrist thing became second nature for me after like a day. Yeah. Because everyone at the company, we have about 100 people at Lumus. I had to do the demos for them. So I've been through this a number of times. Sure. And I feel like the input, they really nailed it. On the display side, I think that it's super bright. It's 5,000 nits to the eye, which can compete with daylight, situations, all sorts of ambient lighting. Here I almost wish we had a brighter room, but 5,000 nits is pretty impressive. And the other cool thing is that it's very private. You can't see that anyone's actually looking at any content.
That's important too.
Yeah, it's
super important. It's a little
important.
weird when you're talking to someone and they've got a display right here.
Yeah, there's like a little rainbow in front of them.
Someone's holding a phone.
Right, exactly. We don't want, and nobody wants that because I think it's super important for acceptance. Mm-hmm. They decided to come out with an entry point product with one display, so it's the right eye only. Mm-hmm. So, but there's a lot of utility. I find my favorite thing to use is WhatsApp. Mm-hmm. I use WhatsApp when I'm walking, and that way I can just do everything by dictate. I don't have to look at my watch even. I don't have to take out my phone.
That's really
and nice. I can just talk to my wife while I'm walking, and it works amazingly well with the input device, with the wrist controller. Yeah. So, but also the caption thing, the live captioning. I don't know if you had a chance to try it, translation.
No. Not on these particular devices, on other devices.
Yeah, so it's cool. You're looking at the person and you can actually see what they're saying. And if you're in a loud environment like CES show floor, that's key. And it's only who you're looking at. So if somebody's right over here, you don't get that cross noise. So I think they really nailed it. And people we're really happy with the feedback. The feedback on the display side has been incredible.
And what a partnership. Yeah. Right? Because as I've been walking through the show floor, and everybody has glasses now. Yeah. And I think a large part of the reason for that, or at least definitely a significant part of the reason why everybody feels like they need to be there, is because Meta is proving to a certain degree that this is a viable product category, that there is consumer consumption appetite.
For sure, right,
and
exactly.
Your display is driving it. That's a huge feather.
We're super proud. It's obviously something we couldn't mention for quite a bit of time, and we learned a lot working with their team. The feedback that you get from working with a customer like that is incredible. Not only for that product, but for future products for us. Sure, we take it all into account. An incredible journey, and we still got a lot of room to grow, I think. Well,
and that's exactly what we're going to talk about. So let's definitely dive in. You've learned a lot of lessons from there. I think we have to talk about Zoe. Is it Zoe or Zoe?
It's Zoe. Yeah, we call it Zoe.
That's kind of what I figured. Yeah. What was the real breakthrough for your team that opened the door for this? What is a very wide field of view for this particular type of category?
Yeah. So there's a few headlines here this year. What we're really showing are the next generation of waveguides. Like everybody sees, okay, we're in a consumer device, so hopefully we've built some credibility in the market. We're showing up here today with a very, very early prototype of a 70-degree field of view, we're using geometric waveguides. So we're not doing this with any exotic material. It's basic glass, basic optics, materials and machines that are used to make it, which is important, in terms of keeping the costs down. And we're achieving an incredible field of view, very immersive, not for your everyday notification application, but more, probably gaming, probably like holodeck, multiple, like at your workspace where you can have multiple windows open, super important. Also defense companies, very interested in that for foot soldiers, having a very, very immersive field of view. We're also here to show a thin waveguide, which is something we've been working on. We have thinner, lighter waveguides that are going to be coming down the pike soon. And that's important because it also is easier for us to manufacture, bringing the cost down, as
what
well.
makes it so easy to manufacture?
So it's probably a longer conversation, but the truth is that we have a very simplified process when it comes to the manufacturing. There are a couple steps that we're able to lose when we do a thinner waveguide. And so by reducing the number of steps, we're able to make it, and we're also able to get a lot more yield. Think about it, you're ordering the substrate, the material is the glass. Now you can get, if you're using a thinner waveguide, you're able to get a lot more waveguides for the glass that you're using. So that already lowers the cost, just on the raw material side. So, and also we've been able to optimize an existing product of ours, which is the 30 degrees field of view. You'll try it on. It's it feels a lot bigger because it's a 1:1 aspect ratio. So you've got like a tall image, and it's, and for a lot of users, that's plenty big. Not everybody wants to have like a 70-degree field of view. It's not necessary for the notification sort of application.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of one of the questions that popped up for me around that much wider field of view versus the narrow when we're talking about like all day, every day, throw them on at the beginning and take them off at the end. Do I, as a wearer, really want the super wide view when I'm out walking the street? And I guess my question there is like, what are the use cases that this opens up? I mean, I can imagine AR overlays potentially if the hardware is capable enough of driving that. It might be something. It's not that there's always this wide display blocking your view all the time.
Right. And it's transparent. That's an important thing to remember. Is that you're looking at digital content, but it is transparent. Obviously, you jack the brightness up on a white background. It's more opaque, and you wouldn't do that while you're driving, for example. It's hard to say what the use case is because we have to see what the end system is. We're providing the optical engine, or in some cases just the waveguide, but then our customer builds the end system. That they determine how many sensors are on it, what use cases they had in mind when they decided to use us. So it's hard for me to say like what those use cases are. I have some ideas, like I mentioned.
We create the technology. You figure out what cool things to do.
And they have, and I think that they're really, they spend a lot of time thinking about that, and they also guard it very, very carefully in terms of what they're, but we get a sense of what they're after based on, the feedback they give us. So I think that there's, and it depends, like if the end system is gonna, end up being in a glasses form factor, and it could be a workstation. I'm a big advocate of, like you said, not using the entire field of view all the time. You might not need to. You can use a subset of that field of view. That also matters very much for battery resource. And that's something that makes our waveguides, one of our key advantages is that we're more efficient, and hence the battery life is longer when you're using a geometric waveguide versus an alternative.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a more straightforward path that the light takes. And because we're using mirrors instead of like diffractive elements, we're able to actually preserve the color, and we have less loss, less first order and second order loss with the path of light through the waveguide. I could explain that just simply here, is that the way it works is a geometric or reflective waveguide has two sets of partially reflecting mirrors, two arrays really. And you really can't see at all the second set. They're basically completely invisible. At certain angles, you can see the first set.
Yeah, I can see the first set.
Yeah, and so a lot of times, like in the Meta Ray-Ban displays, you can see that it's over here on the side, sort of out of the way. You don't notice it at all when you're wearing it, of course. And we inject the image here through a prism or a mirror, and then it gets expanded along two axes, like the X and Y axis, because you first have to take the small image, expand it, and then the mirrors actually are the output to the eye. So that's how it works. And this is, like I said, this is a super thin one, but that's the basic architecture of our waveguides. And they're very different than the competing solutions. Very unique.
Yeah. What is, on some of these glasses, I've noticed that there's a lot of, when someone's wearing them and there's a display, like obviously the wearer sees the display. They hope that the person on the other side doesn't see the display.
This is the right question.
But that's happening, and it can be a little awkward, as we were just talking about.
For sure.
Like, my understanding is that these are kind of avoiding that, or they are minimizing that.
They're definitely. I don't think anyone has zero what we call waveguide leakage or forward projection. But we're, I think, as close to zero, and that's actually inherent in the technology. It's not because we're any smarter than any of the other teams out there. They're really, really talented people. They're always improving this problem. But I think just as a starting point, we have a huge advantage because it's very minimal to start off with. Then you put on something called an AR coating, like anti-reflective coating, and that actually reduces it to like less than 1%, I think, over here. So it's negligible. Like, you really don't see it. I think the other guys have ways of engineering it by sort of aiming the image down a bit, or I'm not exactly sure how they're minimalizing it, but it's privacy is key. You don't want to look weird when you're wearing glasses. You want to pass.
It's not just also about looking weird. I mean, that is a big part of it, right? And that's why these the frames like the Metas that actually look like normal glasses. That's why it's getting a lot of pickup, because now it doesn't look like you're putting technology on your face. But it is also about privacy, because
100%.
You might be looking at something very important, something very specific, a code, or
bank
I don't know what it is.
Whatever it is.
And the person on the other end is just really good at reading things backwards.
Well, that's the feedback we're hearing, because we're so happy with the feedback that we've seen overall for the system, and very happy for the Meta team. But we're paying special attention to what's the feedback on the optics, and that's been really, really positive. I think what they're really impressed with is both the brightness of the image, 5,000 nits to the eye, that's really impressive, as well as the privacy that we're speaking about now. So those are two things that I think are critical for acceptance in the consumer market.
Okay.
Because you got to be daylight readable, like otherwise.
100%. Yeah, you're wearing these everywhere. They got to work everywhere.
And also the brightness is sort of the other side of the brightness is the efficiency. So I think it's now 6 hours mixed use, right? And obviously they're going to be optimizing for that and making it longer and longer, but to the degree that you can have a bright image without jacking up the resource too much, it's critical.
Yeah, indeed. What about prescription lens challenges?
Prescription, that's a great question.
And not only that, actually, it might be even tied into this, but also the kind of shaded transition.
So the nice thing about our waveguides is that, as far as we know, they're the only ones that you can directly bond your prescription to. So why is that important? There's a few reasons. Like, one, if you have to use something called an air gap, which is possible, it's sort of a thicker system, right? Like, because instead of being directly bonded and the structural integrity is there, it's actually rigid when it's directly bonded, just using an adhesive. You actually now have to have air on either side. So you've got to encapsulate it. Moisture can get in there, dust can get in there. So it's a lot better to be able to directly bond. And you talked about the dimming. You can directly bond that. We have something called push-pull, which allows you to bring the content a lot closer, like a meter and a half away, if that's ideal. And that can just be a -0.5 and a +0.5 diopter that's on either side. Directly bonded, it looks super thin. I mean, I've got a system over here I can show you. You don't notice it at all. So that's critical. So I think that as far as we know, we're the only waveguide that you can do that for. Is directly bond the prescription layer too. I think it's 70% of the population has some sort of correction. If you wear contacts, that's one thing. But,
totally. No, I mean, and it's definitely I know it's a criticism of people that, realize with some of these solutions that you actually have to get like a separate lens that you wear behind it,
like for example, we don't do full systems. And when you're trying these on, I don't know if you have any correction, but
I wear contacts.
Oh, okay. So that's good for this job. But what we actually do have clip-ins that we use here, because we can't know what your prescription is obviously ahead of time. But if we could, you could directly bond it. And that's an incredible degree of freedom.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, should we take a look?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, there we go. All right. So we'll put these on. Go.
Yeah, and we're going to show you some test patterns, and then.
Oh, that looks really good.
Yeah. So you want to pay attention to the color, because, like I said, we're using mirrors, which preserves the color, right? Because think about it, it's just reflecting.
Yeah. In the context of your current announcements, where do these sit?
So these are the optimized Z30.
Z30.
That means that whatever we've shown in the past it was actually impressive brightness and efficiency, but now we've dramatically improved that. Like I said, it's 8,000 nits to the watt. So that's a metric that measures, and we can show you a white background. And why do we care about white balance and white backgrounds? If I'm reading something on ZDNet, for example, I need a white background to read against. And what we find with a lot of the competition is that there's like a kind of rainbowing effect that goes on. The white isn't really white, it's kind of purple, orange. I want to show you some text so you can actually see.
I mean, and
you should be able to read it.
That's a dense amount of small text. Yeah, I could totally read it.
Yeah, we wanted to use like a small font. This is, I think, Alice in Wonderland, like a chapter with some typos apparently.
Her own mind. Okay, yeah.
All right, let's see. And then this is, again, a test pattern where a lot of times they're going to show you content that they're trying to hide their problems, but we're showing these difficult test patterns with, for example, a white background, 8-point font, so you can see that you can actually read that.
Absolutely can.
Yeah.
I can read all the 8-point. That's really impressive. Yeah, and I mean, it's bright enough that, yes, this is transparent. Yes, I can see through it. But when that bright is on, it's mostly a wall.
And I don't see anything. Like when I'm looking at you, I see your eyes perfectly.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. I've watched 3D Avatar wearing our glasses.
That's always my test too.
See,
that's my test.
You cannot see anything. You're looking like directly at my eyes.
That's
so
great.
Here's some some fun, Muppets.
Yeah. Okay. And this is more kind of like the stereoscopic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like we want to give like a feel of like because black is transparent in AR.
Mm-hmm.
So this way it looks like it's floating. And then just to give you an idea of the color. We've got some.
That's really, yes, these look really pretty.
Yeah. I mean, on the next one, the 70, I'm going to show you a video so you can actually see some moving content. But you can find more problems on the still content. Mm-hmm. Videos like dragons flying around. They're very easy to like mask all the problems of the quality, but we're not trying to
direct
hide
your
that.
attention. Yeah. So that looks really good.
Okay.
Very, very nice. And I mean,
and this is the optical engine if you want to show the viewers, like that's what's sitting in your eye. As you can see, the projector is quite small, very lightweight, and that fits into the frame of the glasses.
Yeah.
And that's 30 degrees. So the Meta Ray-Ban displays are using a 20-degree field of view. Here we're showing you 30 degrees, and it's meaningfully larger.
Yeah, indeed. Very, very nice.
Okay. So we can take these off and move over to the 70s. All right.
Okay.
All right, so this I'm going to be super, super gentle with. This is our only system right now. We lost 2 already.
Oh, no.
Only because I dropped one. That was my bad. And the other one eye's
of my nose. Okay.
All right, so I'm going to make the content move now.
I've got an image. It's like a floating cyberpunk ship or something.
Exactly, cyberpunk, exactly. It's a sort of Baron Munchausen
yes, there we go.
Airship. Yeah, so what you're looking at is the earliest prototype that we're showing publicly of 70 degrees. Mm-hmm. Now you can see, I want to also show you some content, but
wow, and now it's zooming in.
Yeah, so that's filling up more of your field of view because here you can't really tell just how wide the field of view is. So let me show you a still image. That gives you a sense of just how big it is.
It is like a wraparound display.
Yeah.
That's really
and this is some of the same images that you've seen.
And the clarity and the colorful
again, like
nature
this,
of the images.
Yeah, let's look at the test patterns. I think they're over here. Yeah, this one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, is this sharper than the other one?
It's actually not, but I'm glad that you said that, and you should put that in your story.
Perception is so interesting to me. It's it suddenly looks sharper.
Well, it's really interesting that you say that because a lot of times, and we learn this by working with Meta and other companies, is that you're measuring everything. You have to measure in order to improve. You can't improve if you don't have a measurement, right?
Yeah.
On the other hand, they're sometimes solving problems that the consumer can't notice. And so it's certain parameters matter very, very much. Mm-hmm. And it's been a surprise in some cases which ones don't. So I think that's a lot of the key learning is like, okay, we always want to improve it. We always want to make it better. But certain things that we thought were important, turns out they're not noticeable. They're noticeable to cameras and measuring devices. They're not noticeable to the human eye.
Sure.
So this actually this isn't as bright as the other system. The resolution is 1080. What is the resolution? 1080p.
Yeah. 1080p, okay. It looks really sharp and it's very large. I mean, the wide field of view is what this is all about. And yeah, that's really impressive. Mm-hmm. Looks really good.
I want to show you one more thing.
Sure.
Which is that when it comes to next generation, we've also been working with a micro display called micro LED, mm-hmm. which is sort of like people believe it's going to be the future. This has not been shaped. But so the waveguide is like in this rectangle form, but this is a working prototype, and I just want you to see how small the projector is on this. Okay. It's almost like a tick.
Need to.
Oh yeah, let's take these off. Yeah, let's take these off.
Because the field view is so wide that
you can't actually.
I can't see anything right now.
Right. So let's see, just so you can see just how small. This is a real working projector. micro LED. So eventually you can see how that melts into any frame almost.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like kind of next generation stuff that we have.
Wow,
when micro LED, when the market for full color is ready, we've got a solution.
Very nice.
And we have advantages when it comes to that technology as well.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
Well, David, that was awesome. Thank you so much for allowing me to put all of these glasses on my face and really, like, legitimately look into the future.
Yeah.
The future looking glass, or I don't know, I could probably get very poetic about that, but exciting space to be so tied in and involved with, and you guys are doing some really cool things. So I just want to thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. No, it was a pleasure.
Excellent. Best of luck, and I'm sure
Enjoy
we'll
the rest of the show.